So at a time when the R word has been flagged, does the recent economic data justify it? Let's find out with Mousina, Associate Economist with the Commonwealth Bank. How are you, Diana?
Good, thanks Peter, how are you?
So are you worried about recession in the Australian economy?
Not at the Commonwealth Bank, we're not.
Okay, good.
I really think that the Australian data has been quite mixed lately. Yes, GDP growth over Q1 disappointed, but then we had the labour force numbers which showed that there was a small rise in employment over the month of May, and people were expecting a large fall in employment given that we've had quite jumpy outcomes over the past few months, and a positive outcome, a very positive outcome in April.
So that's one good sign. You're not worried about unemployment going through the roof. The number people talk about is 6%. What projection have you guys got for unemployment?
We've got about 5.75% at the end of 2013, so that's not really too far off where we are at the moment.
Nothing to worry about, yep.
And I think an outcome of 6% would still be quite reasonable, and compared to the global economy, it would still be quite low. Okay.
Any other indicator out there that makes you feel positive? Let's ignore the negatives, unless there's a big negative that you really want to underline. What are the positives out there that make you not worried about recession?
Well, I think that the housing market is really showing signs of picking up. We've had a pickup in housing lending over the past few months, and that's been sustained. We've also had building approvals that have been quite strong over the past few months, and that kind of forms our opinion that that residential part of the economy will offset some of the growth that the mining construction part of the story will leave.
How negative are you on mining? Like, it's all very well, we all say, oh, the mining boom's over, and I prefer to say it's petering out, but it's not. But how drastic is the collapse of mining going to be? Is it going to be a collapse, or is it just going to be a slowdown?
Well, hopefully it will be a slowdown.
What are you guys predicting it to be?
Well, we are predicting that it will be a slowdown.
Yeah.
And that's really because the LNG projects that are in the pipeline are quite long duration, and they're really big projects. So once they start to come offline, you're going to have a slow detraction from growth rather than a fast detraction, because they're of very long duration. You know, they go for 6 or 7 years. And I think what we're seeing at the moment is we're really seeing this peak in mining investment occurring, and we're seeing that transition to a non-mining led economy. And it might not be going swiftly at the moment, but we do think that that residential part of the story will start to pick up, and that non-mining growth will start to pick up around the second half of the year. So non-mining business investment.
Now, Michael referred to the possibility that maybe short rates might have to come down a bit more. What are you guys predicting for interest rates?
We've got another rate cut priced in for August following the Q2 CPI data, which is out the end of July. Markets are actually only predicting around 9 more basis points cut over the next 12 months. That was before I left the office. And there's only about an 18% chance of a rate cut in July. And that's really because we've seen the Aussie dollar fall so much, because that does act like a rate cut.
Yeah. Is there a rule of thumb that for every cent fall in the Aussie dollar, it equates to an interest rate cut of what?
I guess it just depends what stage of the economic cycle you're in. I think at this stage that we're in, we've seen the Aussie dollar been high for some time. So exporters will really be happy with what's been happening in the currency, and that's what our business surveys are telling us as well.
Now, I'm not sure if it's a CBA one, but it may well be a ComSec, but there's a business spending indicator.
Business sales.
Now, this actually has been very bullish, hasn't it, over the last few months?
Well, last month, or in May, we saw a very strong increase. It increased by around 1%. It kind of does tend to move with the retail sales numbers. They do tend to measure similar categories. So that's quite positive as well. We've had a few outcomes over the past few months in retail sales where they haven't been so positive, but I think that in May we might get a stronger outcome, which is really great. Okay, great. So generally speaking, don't worry about recession. And also, one last thing, China, are you guys worried about the China developments? Not really. We've always been quite positive on the Chinese story. And I mean, the People's Bank of China doesn't seem to be concerned. They kind of seem to be doing this for a reason. So we still remain quite positive on that. And we've got the US economy as well. It's going to be picking up this year. So I think all signs positive.
Great stuff. Good. And I hope you're right. So thanks very much, Deanna.